We've come to the last chapter of the book, chapter 13, which gets sets up by the last verse of chapter 12, verse 28, which tells us to be thankful and to worship God. And then at last, we get this in the message paraphrase. This is the paraphrase, not a literal sort of word for word or dynamic equivalent, a kind of translation. It's a little bit more of a conceptual translation there. Do you see what we've got? An unshakable kingdom. Again, he's writing to people who are discouraged by the trials they're facing and the trials they can see are coming. Do you see what we've got? An unshakable kingdom. God wins, right? Hang in there. And do you see how thankful we must be? Not only thankful, but brimming with worship, deeply reverent to God. And then turning the corner to chapter 13, we get this big message about love, sort of the capstone, the greatest commandment, that we're to love God and love others. Keep on loving one another as brothers and sisters. Do not forget to show hospitality to strangers, for by doing so, some people have shown hospitality to angels without knowing it. So, we're coming to the end of the book. It's not over yet. Don't tune me out just yet. What follows is vitally important. The writer has moved us in much the same way we find Paul moving in the book of Ephesians from doctrine to application. And so the writer of the letter to the Hebrews or the sermon to the Jews called the letter to the Hebrews, whatever, we've got this theoretical, conceptual, doctrinal kind of study at the first part of the book, and then it's become much more practical. We've moved from a graduate level theological work, one that is focused on Jesus, who he is, his nature, all the ways he's better than anyone and anything else, into a list of now do this, or so what, or practical applications. So don't slow down. In light of who Jesus is and what he's done, don't slow down. Don't give up. Don't be sidetracked. Because the finish line is in sight and the celestial city is coming, right? It's just around the corner. Live today in light of that truth. Live today in light of tomorrow and all the tomorrows that will come. You're going to live forever. Live today in light of the fact that you're going to live forever. When you meet Jesus, what are you going to wish you had done? Do it. So don't slow down or give up. And this is a hard message to adhere to in a culture that is so completely consumed in the moment. The good news is most of us have many, many, many blessings. It's not just that we live like kings and queens. We live better than kings and queens. We live in ways that are unthinkable and unimaginable to people just 100 years ago today. But in light of the past, one of the disadvantages of this is that we have a hard time relating to those people who are finding life incredibly difficult and who long for heaven, who long for a world that works, who long for God's will and for God. We can become complacent in this life, and we don't want to do that. So the writer goes on, remember your leaders who spoke the word of God to you. Consider the outcome of their way of life and imitate their faith. Jesus Christ is the same yesterday and today and forever. Do not be carried away by all kinds of strange teachings. So he urges us to stay close to Jesus and to the people who are telling us how to live like Jesus. Jesus never changes. Everything else is going to. If we're not careful, we could be pulled away from the plain and simple, the eternal and most important. So don't get sidetracked. The writer of Hebrews, as he's drawing this to a close, and tomorrow will be our last devotion, as he's drawing us to a close, he says, don't get sidetracked. Keep the main things the main thing. Focus on God. Live in light of eternity. Have a good day.